Wow. Okay, glad to see you again. Glad to see you again. Okay. Well, it's really long journey for me to go outside the country. Okay. Today, oh, the episode 52啊，我们看一下昨天上一次读的借钱窗口，美银行从美联储借1美元，然后自己印9美元，9美元不是美元，是通过借钱窗口印的。什么是借钱窗口？呃，这就是借钱窗口。然后公开市场是怎么操作的呢？政府印一个债券，然后美联储印支票，然后呢，把这个支票存到某一个银行里边，银行呢就把它当做一个政府的存款，看到吧？就是政府印的这个钱给这块变成了存款了。然后具体怎么做的呢？下面怎么做呢？银行把这份支票存到自己银行里，然后变成了银行的存款，政府的存款存到银行变成了银行的存款，银行存款之后，然后再进行商业银行把它叫做一个 bank reserves，因为有一个部分准备金制度，所以10%是 reserve，剩下的90%呢是 exit access access reserves，所以银行从100万90万就是准备金，然后呢，这个准备金是什么意思呢？就是它可以往外贷款90万，但是这90万是怎么贷的呢？看这块儿，有人借钱的时候，银行直接在银行账户上记入资金，这就是印钱的方式，直接记账，凭空创造新钱，直接记账 demonstrate，直接记账，凭空创造。啊，这有一个 reserve ratios ratios ratios. Okay, the previous figure are based on a reserve ratio of 10%, a money expansion ratio of 10 to 1, and must be remembered. 哦，这块少了一个，一年就可以创造这90万，一年可以 ten times. And must be remembered, however, that this is pure arbitrary. This is pure arbitrary. Since the money is fiat with no precious metal, no precious metal backing, there's no real limitation, except what the politicians and money managers decided. It's too expedient. It's expedient for the moment. Altering, altering this ratio is the third way in which the Federal Reserve can influence the nation's supply of money. The numbers, therefore, must be considered as transient. transient 啊，transient At any time there is a need for more money, the ratio can be increased to 20 to 1 or 50 to 1, or the pretension of reserve can be dropped altogether. There is virtually no limit to the amount of fiat money that can be manufactured under the present system. Okay, this is fake. This is pretense. National debt not necessary for inflation. Inflation. Because the Federal Reserve can be counted on to monetize current money, virtually any amount of government debt, and because this process of expanding the money supply is the primary cause of inflation, it is time to jump to the conclusion that federal debt and inflation are but two aspects of the same phenomenon. Phenomenon. The same phenomenon. This is, however, is not necessarily true. It's quite possible to have either one without the other. Federal debt and inflation. The banking cartel holds a monopoly in the manufacture of money. Consequently, money is created only when IOUs are monetized by the Fed and by commercial banks. When private individuals, corporations, and institutions purchase government bonds, they must use money they have previously earned and saved. In other words, no new money is created because they are using funds that are already in existence. Therefore, the sale of government bonds to the banking system is inflationary. But when sold to the private sector, it is not. That is the primary reason the United States avoided massive inflation during the 1980s, when the federal government was going to debt at a greater rate than ever before in its history. By keeping interest rates high, these bonds became attractive to private investors, including those in other countries. Very little new money was created because most of the bonds were purchased with American dollars already in existence. This, of course, was a temporary fix at best. Today, those bonds are continually maturing. 啊，不是 mature mature and have been replaced by still more bonds to include the original debt plus accumulated interest. Eventually, this process must come to an end, and when it does, the Fed will have no choice but to literally buy back all the debt of the 19th and the 18th. That is, to replace all of the formerly invested private money with newly manufactured fiat money plus a great deal more to cover the interest. Then we will understand the meaning of inflation. Then On the other side of the coin, the Federal Reserve has the option of manufacturing money even if the federal government does not go deeper into debt. For example, the huge expansion of the money supply leading up to the stock market crash in 1929 occurred at a time when the national debt was being paid off. In every year from 1920s through 1930s, federal revenue exceeded expenses and there were relatively few government bonds being offered. The massive inflation of the money supply was made possible by converting commercial bank loans into reserves at the Fed's discount window and by the Fed's purchase of bankers' acceptance, which are commercial contracts for the purchase of goods. 货币供应的大规模膨胀是通过在美联储贴现窗口将向商业银行贷款转化为准备金，美联储购买银行承兑汇票来实现的，这是什么意思呢？Okay, on the other side of the coin, the Federal Reserve has the option of manufacturing money even if the federal government does not go deeper into debt. For example, the huge expansion of the money supply leading up to the stock market crash in 1929 occurred at a time when the national debt was being paid off，却发生在因为这样经常见。Every year from 1980s through 1930, federal revenue exceeded expenses revenue 政府的收入 exceeded 超过 expenses revenue exceeded expenses. There were relatively few government bonds being offered. The massive inflation of money supply was made possible by converting commercial bank loans to reserves at the Federal's discount window, and by the Fed's purchase of banks' acceptances, 银行承兑汇票。哦，请问银行承兑汇票是什么？这是一种银行担保付款，具体来说是付款人签发承诺到期无条件付款的票据。比如一个进口商要从出口商那里购买商品，进口商向银行申请开立银行承兑汇票 ，acceptance。银行审核后在汇票上签署承诺到期保证支付。出口商收到这张汇票后，可以等到期收款，也可以提前向银行贴现。出口商收到汇票后，可以到期收款，也可以提前向银行贴现后的资币，改成现金流。对收款方来，由银行担保降低了收款。对银行来说，收取手续费。国际贸易结算、企业采购、供应链融资、短期融资工具。但现在资金点 A 公司可以向银行申请开具银行承兑汇票6个月。B 公司收到这张汇票后，因为有银行担保，可以安心发货，也可以通过贴现立即得到资金。银行承兑汇票在日本，它既是支付工具，也是融资工具，帮助企业更灵活，叫银行承兑汇票。那这个意思是什么意思？就是美联储贴现窗口将商业银行转化为将商业银行贷款转化为准备金。这块有点没太看懂，接着看吧。Now the options are even greater. The Monetary Control Act of 1980 was made possible for the creature of monopolize virtually any debt instrument, including IOUs from foreign governments. The apparent purpose of this legislation is to make it possible to bail out those governments which have trouble paying interest on their loans from American banks. When the Fed creates fiat American dollars to give foreign governments in exchange for their worthless bonds, the money passes slightly longer and more twisted, but the effective is similar to the purchase of interest bonds. The newly created dollars go to the foreign governments, then to the American banks where they become cash reserves. Finally, they flow back into the US money pool, multiplied by 9 in the form of additional loans. In the form of additional loan. The cost of operation once again is borne by the American citizen through the loss of purchasing power, expansion of the money supply, therefore, and the inflation that follows no longer even require the federal deficits. 不需要赤字，不需要赤字，银行赤字也可以。As long as someone is willing to borrow American dollars, the cartel will have the option to creating those dollars specially to purchase their bonds and by so doing continue to expand the money supply. We must not forget, however, that one of the reasons the Federal was created in the first place was to make it possible for Congress to spend without the public knowing it was being taxed. Americans have shown an amazing indifference to this fleecing. Explained undoubtedly by their lack of understanding of how the man-drag machine works. Consequently, at the present time, the cozy contract between the banking cartel and the politicians is in little danger of being altered as a practical matter. Therefore, even though the Fed may also create fiat money in exchange of the commercial debt and for bonds of foreign governments, its major concern likely will be to continue supplying Congress. The implications of this fact are mind-boggling, since our money supply at present at least is tied to the national debt. To pay off that debt would cost money to disappear. Even to seriously reduce it would cripple the economy. Therefore, as long as the Federal Reserve exists, America must be in debt. The purchase of bonds from other governments is accelerating in the present political climate of internationalism. Our own money supply increasingly is based upon their debt as well as ours, and they too will not be allowed to pay it off even if they are able. Taxes not even necessary. 终于说到这个 taxes. It is sobering. 这个川普正在做 sobering. It is sobering. 宿醉 sobering. 畏罪的，严肃的，肃静的 sobering. It is sobering thought that the federal government now could operate even at its current level of spending without levy without levying any taxes whatsoever. And all it has to do is creating the required monies through the Federal Reserve System by monetizing its own bond. In fact, most of the money it's now spent is obtained that way. If the idea of eliminating the IRS sounds like good news. Remember that the inflation that results from monetizing the debt is just as much a tax as any other. But because it is hidden and so few Americans understand how it works, it's more political popular than a tax that is out of in the open. Inflation can be likened to a uh, game of monopoly in which the game's banker has no limit to the amount of money he can distribute. With each throw of the dice he reaches under the table and bring up another stack of those paper tokens, which all the players must use as many. If the banker is also one of the players, and in our real world, that is exactly the case. Obviously, he's going to end up owning all the property. But in the meantime, the increasing flood of money swears. Throwing out from the banks and engulfs the players. As the quantity of money becomes greater, the relative worth of each token becomes less, and the prices paid for the properties goes up. The game is called Monopoly for a reason. In the end, one person holds all the property and everyone else is bankrupt. But what does it matter? It's only a game. Unfortunately, it is not a game in the real world. It is our livelihood, our food, our shelter, our shelter, our shelter. It does make a difference if there is only one winner. And it makes a big difference if that winner obtains his monopoly simply by manufacturing everyone's money. Fourth reason to abolish the system. Make no mistake about it, inflation is a tax. Furthermore, it's the most unfair tax of them all because it falls most heavily upon those who are thrifty. Thrifty. Those on fixed incomes and those in the middle and the lower income brackets. The important point here is that this hidden tax would be impossible without fiat money. Fiat money in America is created solely as a result of Federal Reserve System. Therefore, it's totally accurate to say that the Federal Reserve System generates our most unfair tax. Both the tax and system that makes it possible should be abolished. The political scientists who address this process of monitoring the national debt and the monetary scientists who carry it out know that it is not true that it is not true that because no one in Washington really accepts to repay it ever. The dual purpose of this magic shows is simply to create free spending money for the politicians without the inconvenience of raising direct taxes and also to generate a perpetual perpetual river of gold flowing into the banking cartel. The partnership is merely looking out for itself. Why, then, does the federal government bother with taxes at all? Why not just operate on monetized debt? The answer is twofold. First, if it did, people would begin to wonder about the source of the money, and that might cause them to wake up to the reality that inflation is at hand. Thus, overtaxes at some level serve to perpetuate public ignorance, which is essential to the success of the scheme. The second reason is that taxes, particularly progress taxes, are weapons by which elites, elitists, elitist social planners can wage war on the middle class. A tool for social planning. Okay, I think that's all for today. Well, it's too late. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm too tired. I'm too tired. I'm too tired. I'm too tired. Okay, I'm too tired. Okay, that's all for today. 213，204页，204，OK，到这儿吧。好嘞，好嘞，好嘞。昨天开了一天的车，好嘞。Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you. See you next time.